So updates on the Hollywood strikes. This week, the WGA met with the AMPTP, Carol Lombardini, and those negotiations broke down real quick. They met for the first time in more than 3 months. Remember, the AMPTP refused to come to the table. They finally did, but they failed to reach an agreement to resume contract negotiations. Their inability to agree on the terms for returning to the bargaining table, which is, again, this like it's like 2 steps before you even talk, comes after their much anticipated meeting to discuss a possibility of resumption of talks. Lombardini stated they were willing to increase their offer on a few writer-specific TV minimums and willing to talk about AI, but they're not willing to engage on the preservation of the writer's room or success-based residuals. She did not indicate any willingness to address screenwriter issues, Appendix A issues, many of other proposals that remain on our list. And that is from Deadline, but quoted from the WGA themselves. And a lot of this has to do, so they're trying to break up like the writers and like separate them out from one another, feature writers from television writers and whatnot. So you've seen this going around, which is kind of beautiful, which is writers on Twitter, sadly, who are saying, I'm a TV writer who supports weekly pay for feature writers too. And then I'm a feature writer who wholeheartedly supports guaranteed minimum room size for TV staffing, because as we've talked about before, the mini rooms, where writers are hired for like whatever it is, like 3 weeks to break story on a bunch of episodes, and then the show doesn't even get made, and they're not even making the minimum to even get like basic protect, even to be WGA members in some cases. So that's all happening. That's all breaking down now. There's more, obviously, because we've got the SAG strike. SAG is continuing, and here is the other Fran, we'll call her, speaking, I believe, with CNN about where they stand when it comes to their negotiations.
No progress?
Oh, no, they're not speaking to us. So I don't know what that comment was, that they want to seek a deal when you have to be able to negotiate and talk to the opposition to make a deal. This is not something that will be resolved with incremental changes. This is a holistic shift in contract that must occur because the business model has been changed so dramatically, and they have to understand that that's what it's going to take.
Right. So it's big, it's deep. It's not going to be, we'll talk about this, but not this, and which is so funny, James. They're saying what they don't want to talk about. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just like, imagine going to a therapy session with your partner and being like, okay, but I'll talk about all these things, but I don't want to talk about how I definitely cheated on you with your friend. Is that cool?
My mother is off limits.
Yeah, my mother off limits. You're like, what? No. And so it's not just, obviously, when WGA started their strike, it seemed like, they're writers. They're not necessarily the faces of a lot of these productions, and we shall see. And it seemed a little shaky in the beginning. Now that SAG has joined them and they're whatever into the 4th or 5th week of their strike, it feels like there's some real power behind this movement. Yeah.
And that's why it's divide and conquer time. That's why they're trying to pit, the SAG and the WGA against each other. And that's what kind of gives me some worry about all the waivers, and because I think it's got to be all or nothing,
Yeah. The waivers meaning I know Shonda Rhimes has a show that got a waiver to be able to go into production, and she decided not to. Are there?
Yeah, and like in all capitalism, it's the very well-to-do people who are going to keep working and making things. I don't know. It's complicated. I'm not as intelligent about it as some people. But it seems obvious to me they're just trying to fracture SAG because they know that that's what people are more aware of as the actors, And
yes.
And SAG joining the strike terrified them, finally, I think. And so now they're just trying to, pick apart SAG and have actors fighting with each other about things like these waivers, and yeah, they're just trying to wait it out, and I hope it doesn't work.
Yeah. I mean,
don't
I
know.
think what's crazy.
People seem to have resolve, so I am feeling good about that. Sorry.
Right. I think I'm feeling good about the resolve. I'm not feeling good about the timing. I think this is going to be a very long fight because I think, as
Yes.
Fran Drescher said, this is existential. There's a lot that needs to be addressed now, and cannot wait. As we've talked about on the show with Paris Marks, how much Hollywood's been techified thanks to streaming, and how much this is about returns for the shareholders. This is about just endless growth, money. Fuck everyone involved and all the workers. Another thing that is giving me some hope, and to your point about like all the waivers and what about the rich people, all these A-listers are giving money. So George Clooney and Amal Clooney, Matt Damon, Leonardo DiCaprio, Hugh Jackman, The Rock, Nicole Kidman, Bennifer gave $1 million. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, Julia Roberts, Schwarzenegger, Streep, Winfrey, like all of these people are like, it is finally liberal Hollywood sort of being like, all right, well, which side are you fucking on?
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, we got Oprah.
Yeah.
Look out.
And all of these people will be running for president at some point in our lifetimes.
I hope so.
The Rock's been putting out floaters for years. Let's be honest now. It's like him and Gavin Newsom both really want to be president. Now you can tell the entire life. But yeah, like I it's hard for me to say what is, I'm not like a member of any of these unions. It's hard for me to kind of say, oh, this is the deal they should take. This is the deal they should make. But I definitely really liked your point, James, about how it's very clear that they're going to be entering their next phase of, okay, where can we fracture the membership within, the rank and file within WGA, SAG-AFTRA, IATSE now might be in the mix as well. How can they cause fractures within that? And also how can they cause fractures through this cross-union solidarity? Because they want to either put the top actors against the like not lower tier, but like the actors who are still working to make it and aren't financially stable, right? Same thing with the writers' rooms. They're trying to find how to break this type of solidarity. But what's nice and what's lovely to see is that while I had some folks who've been on the picket lines, Evan Mertzai, I had Adam Conover on one episode of Power Report too, said they've been like really vocal about these things. But at the same time, we have elites who are running these corporations and running these production companies who just see a line on a spreadsheet and go, oh, AI will be cheaper than paying writers. And all of my tech friends and my venture capital friends who are in this like business world anyways, who are at my level of billionaires or millionaires, I respect them. They're saying that this is going to change the game. They're saying this is going to change the world. When we all know AI is pretty terrible, it's not really good. It's very iterative product, but like
reliant on real people.
Yeah, at the same time that executive level is getting further and further out of touch with reality, the rank and file are getting more in touch with that. Exactly like that point you said, Fran, which side are you on? They're really starting to get to that. Okay, we need to hold down, we need to support each other, we need to provide solidarity, because if we give on too many of these things, or especially one of these big things like AI or residuals, then they're already taking a mile even without them giving an inch. So they're just going to take as much as they can because this is rapacious capitalism.
It's so funny. Here's a little clip from someone who I thought would be like the shilliest shill of Hollywood, only because he's like presented at the Oscars, like 8 times or something like this. But here was Billy Crystal on the picket line, and here's what he had to say.
Hi, I'm Billy Crystal, walking the line today in front of Paramount Studios in total solidarity with my SAG-AFTRA brothers and sisters and also the Writers Guild. So let's stay strong. I think there's progress being made. We have to stay optimistic and stay strong for what we believe in. This is too important. The world is changing. They have to change with us. So in other words, quoting a movie I was once in, we'll have what they're having.
So corny, but true.
That's Billy, baby.
There you go, right, Billy? But and to Dan's point, and it's exactly right. It is like endless growth. It is just capitalist greed. And it is, we must make more next year than this year. How we do that, get rid of all extras, how we do that, like make writer room smaller. Like it's them just being the worst people and having to like be worse and worse and worse and worse and worse every single year as the content gets more and more and shittier and shittier. And you know, I wanted to pivot because I thought that this is coming up and this is fascinating because as Dan, you mentioned, they're going to try, and you guys both mentioned, they're trying to divide and conquer. So where are they looking? Naturally, because there's such a big market and there's so many creatives and work out there, they're going to South Korea. So Netflix turns to South Korea writers and crews as Hollywood strikes, but they feel exploited too. Wow, right, bro. Yeah. South Korean actors and Netflix want better pay. The company refuses to meet with their union. Now, don't fuck around with the South Korean union. They're fucking militant. You know, like they it's not like the US where we're like, wow, we're suddenly, you know, becoming conscious. Like South Korea has like a very active labor movement, and they have for many, many years. It's great that now in the film industry they're having that. But for example, you know, everyone needs to obviously remember Squid Game. So actually, and the creator of Squid Game forfeited all of his intellectual property rights, all of his nuts, all of his no residuals on this massively popular show, which by the way,
biggest show they ever had.
Biggest show they've ever had. We don't even really know all the numbers, but apparently there was a leak at some point that showed that it cost about 21 million all in, 21 million to make. And they made, or the value of Squid Game is $900 million. So like, and the stories out of South Korea are, I mean, it reminds us of some of the worst stories we heard from the crews of IATSE, right? In terms of like these like 40-hour or whatever, not 40-hour days, but like 20-hour days where they're like driving home at 3 a.m, blurry eyed and, you know, getting in car crashes, all this stuff. So it's global, y'all. It's global. That's all and then if that weren't bad enough for the elites of this town, guys, there are hotel workers. The double strike, this is according to the Washington Post, of course, or, you know, reported by them, double strike. But in addition to that, hotel housekeepers, receptionists, and cooks held a 3-day strike in early July over wages and benefits. And they've been intermittently striking since that time. Of course, something you'll not see on the picket lines in front of Paramount with Billy Crystal, although that'd be kind of tight because it'd be very interesting to watch. But here's what happened outside of, I believe, the Fairmont Hotel just recently when it came to those hotel workers striking. Here's what the Fairmont did. Okay, so that's a bunch of dudes, men in black, so sort of like goons who should also be part of the union, but scabs really hired by this hotel, trying to enforce their like little black-clad barricade on a bunch of, you know, like hotel workers who were picketing on their line. So that's on the other side of town where Billy Crystal is not.
Yeah.
And then finally, final, as if that, you know, weren't enough for our new mayor, Karen Bass. Girl, what you doing about this stuff? City workers today, 11,000 Los Angeles city employees participating in a 1-day strike, including sanitation workers, Los Angeles International Airport employees, street services, and their local SEIU 721 represents more than 98,000 county and city workers across Southern California. Why are you saying let's go, Dan? You a city worker?
No, but my parents are SEIU members. They both retired. They worked in school districts. So
Hell
I don't know if
yeah.
that's that same part of the LA union because suburb, not going to dox them. But no, I as a kid.
Where do they
went
live
to a
though?
couple
What's their
SEIU
number?
unions.
555.
But yeah, like I I like to see, because sometimes I feel like, at least I get this sort of sense or worry that, oh, of course we're talking about the Writers Guild strikes and SAG-AFTRA strikes because we're Hollywood adjacent, I guess, especially Fran and I being in LA. I'm not sure where you are, James. Not going to dox you either.
Yeah,
But
Glendale, so Hollywood adjacent.
okay, so we're all here, right? But like, I also like to see that, hey, when the Teamsters were striking, they were honoring the WGA picket lines. When you had the teacher strike going on as well, and DSA and LA did a really good job of supporting the teacher strike, the Teamster strike, pretty much everything that's going around right now. So what you're getting is, again, usually you get kind of depressing news, and that video over there was not really great to see how far these hotels will go just to protect capital and protect property against protesters who are doing nothing. But it's great to see all types of workers from all types of industries, from all different walks of life, working together and seeing, or even if they're not like directly working together, understanding the inherent solidarity that is holding back your labor so that you can get better material results than you're currently getting. And frankly, what people deserve to be getting for the work they're putting in.
Final thing. I just as we were like starting, I just saw this headline of visual effects artists and workers are now wanting to form their own union and under IATSE, so like the crew workers union. So this is for apparently more than 50 on-set employees who work in visual effects are filing a petition to have IATSE host an election as early as August 21. And I'm like, guys, slow down. Like, you got to build, some Jane McAlevey, like, labor analysis. You got to wait before the election, I think, maybe. Although you can still form it. So if you got enough to form it, hell, go for it.
Is this the same as the Marvel one?
I believe so, yes. These are all workers who've worked on Marvel films. So this is, again, like, and we're going to get to it, but at a time when, like, AMPTP and these CEOs are trying to use workarounds. They're trying to be like, well, we can just CG everything. We can just use visual effects to, like, make AI look better or steal this person's image. Now those workers who are of course they're being overworked. Of course they are saying, hey, hang on. If there was a time to do a labor action and to form a union, maybe now is a really good time.
But that's what you don't get, Francesca, because all these CEOs, the reason why they get paid millions and millions of dollars is because they can do VFX and they can act and they can write. So they're gonna roll up their sleeves and just be a one-person show. We're gonna watch
every story will be
animated series.
Yeah, every story will be just a sad tale about a beleaguered billionaire. Like
totally. It'll be like Robert Reich's drawings, except for Zaslav like drawing. It was like, and then
on ESPN this weekend there was literally the Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, like competitive spreadsheeting, and like I feel like that's the only thing Zaslav could do.
There's competitive spreadsheeting. I swear to God, patriarchy is.
They make nothing. They create nothing.
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.